This week we are stretching ourselves and our comfort zones and flying ourselves and our bikes 5,200 miles to Madeira, Portugal. Madeira is a picturesque island off the coast of Morocco, and not many people know this, but it's considered to be one of the best mountain biking destinations in Europe.
Woo!
So we're flying halfway around the world to test that theory. We had some struggles getting to Madeira, which seemed to continue onto the bikes in day one. But on day two, we seemed to find our stride on the rocks and jumps and flow that Madeira has to offer.
Woo!
And now we're on to day three.
Not feeling all that great.
Look out!
We're right in a new area. Supposed to be more technical.
Oh! Holy sh**. Today we're going to continue raiding the trails, exploring the island, hitting some of the most gnarly blues and reds we've ever hit, the steepest turns that we found on the island, and even a little bit of Madeira ice. So here we go.
Wait, vomit up my Portuguese steak.
Getting started on day 3. Sleep has been hard. Stomach's not feeling all that great. Okay, so we'll see how today goes.
Look out!
We're right in a new area. Supposed to be more technical. And riding's been awesome so far. Here we go.
Today we are going to be tackling 5 of Madeira's prettiest and steepest rides over on the east side of the island.
Alright, we are about to start day 3.
Stomach's still feeling, it's undecided, be good or bad.
Look out!
It's pretty. Look how pretty it is.
Look at that. Here we go.
Yep.
The first ride of the day is going to start off with a 6-mile climb, which is the longest climb we've done the whole time, then drop us into some of the steepest switchbacks that we've seen on the trip so far. All right, here we go. After some climbing, first climbs of the day.
Okay, we just pedaled up for 6 miles, which was a good warm-up. I don't feel my tired legs from the past couple days of riding.
They put these railings up there for a reason. Right off the bat, we're getting dropped into some gnarliness. These turns are legit.
Phew! Whew, seriously steep corners. Looks like somebody in the group went off the edge there.
Man, I wish I was better at nose pivots.
Try and get high on the corner if you can.
A rough trail to have your first day on.
There are a few people on this trip that are starting their first day on this trail. No, thank you. I'd be freaked out.
See the ocean over there.
Oh.
Woo! Oh, those are seriously steep corners, huh?
Very steep corners. And now that we're done with the steep corners, we're going to drop into this loose, chunky, highly technical part of the trail.
Nice. Fun stuff, though.
Haha! Woo! This would be wild in the wet. Holy moly, wild in the dry.
Line choice here was critical, and as you can see, there is some exposure on both sides. When the guide asks you if you want to hike up for an Instagram shot, you say yes. I mean, check this out. The exposure is insane. And in case you're wondering, heck yeah, I was scared.
Should be a little less steep now, we're told. A little softer, cool views at that viewpoint.
Ooh, dust all of a sudden. It was so good, like 2 turns ago.
It is amazing how fast the conditions can change on this island. 1 minute you have great traction, 1 minute you have none.
Phew! Burnt out lines here, local lines, if you will. Oh, got my butt with the tire right there.
Oh, have I mentioned how side hilling is one of the scariest parts of mountain biking for me?
There's some super fun trails.
Sometimes I'll say that out loud just to convince myself that I'm not scared.
Oh yeah. Phew.
feeling pretty good today. The pedal up felt harder than it probably should have. My body and my mind feel pretty good right now. This is our third day of riding. We've been doing big days, 17, 18 miles back to back. So tomorrow will be our first rest day. We'll be ready for it. I'm gonna do some lounging.
Again, it's hard to see, but there's a sketchy drop on the right side here.
A little loose, a little bit of a drop. Oh, this is so cool. Check these roots.
Very different style of riding over here than the past 2 days. Much more raw, I guess.
And just like that, I can relax. No more drop off.
Holy, look at that view. It's so cool. I mean, look at this. What a cool place to bike.
The scariest part of the trail is done. Now we're into some blue flow, followed by a little bit of urban downhill.
Ugh.
It is always nice to have a break from the super scary, chunky drop-off stuff, but when you get into blue trails like this, you can push yourself as fast as you want to go, and that definitely brings up the scary factor. This trail looks smooth, but there was a ton of roots and rocks that were snipers. They were rim dingers, not to mention, it's pretty loose as well. I almost lost it right off the trail here.
Whew! Good thing I didn't pull too much front on that.
What's happening is I'm getting super confident because it doesn't feel like there's much exposure, so I'm trying to push myself harder and ride faster, and that is potentially causing a few mistakes.
There was one part that I think I tapped my rim even with Xco.
Does he need a tube? I have a tube!
We didn't make it out unscathed. The sniper rock took out Thomas's rear tire, but after about 20 minutes, we had the tire up and rolling again. Now, this is really the kind of smooth, fun, flowy trail that you'd like to warm up on, but today wasn't that day. So we started with the gnarly stuff, and now we're getting to do the nice, smooth, warm-up style trail. Hopefully that will set us up well for the crazy that's about to come.
Holy
And the trail plopped us right out into this neighborhood, so we had to do a little bit of urban riding to get down to where the van could access us so we could get a shuttle up to lunch and eventually our next trail. Ride number 1 was 9.3 miles, including the climbing, a descent of 1,700 feet, difficulty of 9 out of 10 due to those steep turns, fun out of 7 out of 10, and a 10 out of 10 for views. Ride 2 has our stomachs about to burst, and luckily we're getting started off on a nice flowy blue trail with some jumps, rocks, and sweepy turns.
Yay, bicycling.
Pretty flower. All right, back on the bikes after a delicious lunch of Portuguese steak. This trail is a blue trail.
A blue trail with some real nice cut and flow.
The environment has changed so much. I mean, you guys can see how open it is now, and just no vegetation. It's pretty crazy compared to what we've been riding in.
There's tons of flow to be had in this wide open Madeira trail, but it has you really thankful for having grippy, knobby tires, because when you push into these flat corners, it's hard to get grip, and you gotta lean your bike and push that bike down into these loose dirt corners.
Woohoo! Fun and fast.
Oh, steak. Nothing like digesting steak. Riding bikes. Whew. Apparently they did the Enduro World Series here, I believe. On this trail is what they said. Oh, there's a jump. Didn't have enough speed.
Something that you're not going to get a lot of in Madeira is these big sculpted jumps. Now you will get jumps, you will get kickers, you will get a few road gaps, but it's not like they're coming at you a lot so that you're going to get better and used to them.
Rocks, lots of rocks, lots of loose rocks.
Oy. Might vomit up my Portuguese steak.
If you're looking for nutrition tips, carbs are always going to be a better source for fueling your mountain biking. But when you're in Portugal, you eat the Portuguese steak and eggs.
Oh, I'm gonna throw up my lunch. Oh my God. Ooh. Go, go, go!
Don't get me wrong, I'm having fun here, but for some reason this trail feels extra narrow and I'm having a hard time keeping the tires on the dirt.
Whenever I stop, I get kind of like my body turns into a rest and digest phase.
I mean, I sound surprised, but you saw the steak I ate.
Yoo-hoo!
Sometimes it just takes a little bit of time to get warmed up after lunch. You feel like you've been riding already for multiple hours, but you don't realize that the lunch slows you down quite a bit and you need to get warmed up all over again. I think this trail turned out to be exactly what the doctor ordered. The guides know what they're doing. It was smooth, it was flowy, it was getting us warmed up, it was getting us ready to drop into the next section. And man, look at how pretty this is. You just can't beat it. Wrapping up lap 2, we had 2.7 miles, 1,100 feet of descending, a difficulty of only 4, and a fun of 5 due to all that steak. For ride 3, we are tackling a blue trail, but don't get discouraged. This thing is full of roots and rocks and gnar all over the place. When they say blue, you dive in head first, going fast, but look at this. It is full of super slippery stuff. The dirt is loose, the roots are all over the place, and there's even a few jumps right here to get us going. Right into some sweepy turns that are fast, flowy if you can keep up with the suspension and the bumps. I feel like I was getting in over my head, maybe not as warmed up as I thought I was.
Oh,
Doesn't help these guys we're riding with are rippers and they are taking off.
Something that I'm noticing as we ride with these guys who are ex-racers and super good riders is that I want to learn how to move my bike better through the corners. Watching them is really fun. And they do it super well. And it makes me think I want to do it like that.
Here I am riding as fast as I can on the straight and then braking hard in the corner, slowing way down too much and then trying to re-accelerate again. Another really cool levada on the left, which you may have seen in our last video. Here we're churning through the rocks right before we get to the halfway point and a really cool drop coming up.
That was super fun, yeah.
Here we go. Woo! It may not look like it, but that was about a 4 to 5 foot drop right into some chunky, rocky gnar.
drop to rocks and roots.
Woo! You know, this trail is kind of flowy, but there are so many rocks. You probably can't really see them here, but it is a very bumpy flow that we're riding through. Trying to keep up our speed and really happy with the amount of suspension that we have that just makes this feel a lot more cushy than it would otherwise.
It kind of reminds me of Pacific Northwest.
Whew, that was fun.
Finishing up Ride 3 was only 1 mile, 500 feet of descending, a difficulty of 6 because of all the chunkiness, and a fun of 7 out of 10. Ride 4 has us getting into some of the hardest riding of the whole day, including some crazy route sections. Holy sh**. And the first crash of the day. We talked about earlier how there are not a lot of big jumps in Madeira, or at least they're not taking us there, but you will get super good at flat corners, riding over super chunky rock, and if you have a big enduro bike and you're planning on coming here, I would bring that with you.
Ew, that's fun.
This is an area where you can picnic or camp, and it's amazing how many people are actually out doing that. This is the tree dodging section of the ride. Now we're cruising on a little connector park road ride, which will get us to the next part of the trail. Next up is the red trail for Estradas. Red is in between blue and black, so we're stepping it up. And this trail is a little bit faster, a few more drops, more chunk, more trees to dodge, all that kind of fun stuff.
Keep looking at where I want to go.
A pro tip for mountain biking is to look where you want to go. So always looking ahead, and your body and bike will most of the time follow you, and you'll be in a better position if you can do that.
Yoo-hoo!
In this section, I am just getting beat up by these turns and braking bumps. Just holding on.
Phew!
Now we're on to the gnarliest part of the trail. Here we go.
It is the only way. We must go down.
Oh,
This trail is called New York. Apparently, has a fair amount of roots.
to say this trail has a fair amount of roots is an understatement. We ride in the Pacific Northwest, which is full of roots, and this has more roots than the Pacific Northwest by far. It's crazy.
Roots!
Ooh. Ooh. Save that one and to put a foot down there.
When navigating through roots, you want to try and hit them at a perpendicular angle. That will allow you to go right over them without any problem, but with this many roots, it's almost impossible.
And my feet are not right on the pedals. I think I got them. Jeez. Front tire slippage.
Here we have a little reprieve from the roots, but don't worry, we're going to get right back into it right now. Not to mention, we're going to mix the roots with some steep, tight turns. As you can see, it's hard to stay on the trail here. This actually might be my favorite part of the whole day. Trying to find flow in these roots is like trying to do math problems as fast as you can and hope that you don't screw them up because you don't get a second chance.
Holy roots! And my foot's still on the pedal. Whew!
Gotta shake out the arms and hands after that one.
Cruising between trails in the park. So pretty.
Time to dip into the last part of Ride 4. It's a green, but I'm not sure who's rating these trails because they all seem really hard to me. I think when it comes to creating a really great trail system, the greens all the way up to the double blacks can be really fun trails for any level of rider. In this case, we have a green trail that you can push really hard and look for little side hits and just have a ton of fun, even though it's not the gnarliest trail out there.
Just trying to keep up with all these fast boys.
I'm also trying to keep up with all these fast boys, and it's probably going to lead to disaster.
I'm good.
We determined that I found a little bit of Madeira ice on that turn, and probably just ran out of talent trying to keep up with these fast riders. Didn't hit my head too hard, ready to go. We've got a lot more fun trail up ahead, so I've got to get my head right.
Beekeepers and beehives.
We're coming up to the last part of this lap, but it has some of the chunkiest rock that we've seen on the whole trail. Still a green though. Nothing like some doll head sized rocks leading through some windy corners. Makes it spicy.
Leaves are slippery.
As you can see, the environment just changed again. We've got all these slippery leaves, drops, and we've got a pretty sketchy jump coming up here. Phew! That jump almost had me heading off the trail, and now you may not be able to tell, but these branches and leaves are actually smacking my hands as I'm riding down the trail. Wrapping up Ride 4, we had 4.5 miles, 1,900 feet of descending, difficulty of 8 out of 10, and fun out of 9 out of 10, both because of the roots. Next up, Ride 5, the last ride of the day. Blue Trail with the biggest drop we've seen yet. And a spicy optional red ending.
Okay, last trail of the day. Hole in one underneath the golf course, or near the golf course. That was a little steep kicker there. So the first part of this trail is like a bike park with some optional jumps. That was cool.
And the loose dirt and slippery leaves continue for this last trail.
Oh, dusty, rooty, slippy.
You! A little more dust over here. And that sea.
These bike parky jumps and drops sure are fun. You just have to control your speed into the corners.
I think I'm tired, guys. Phew! We're already at like 18 miles for the day. 6 of those today were climbing.
Ooh. Ooh. Oh!
Should be sufficiently ready for our rest day tomorrow. And some good food, good coffee.
But for now, we have to finish up this trail and try to not fly off the edge.
Phew! That's cool.
A little break before we tackle the last of this blue and the biggest drop of the day.
Breaking bumps on a favorite. Wasn't sure where that trail was gonna go.
Oh, there's a jump.
Yeah.
This drop didn't look big, but it felt huge. The farther you sent it, the bigger it was. Check out this compression. I bottomed out and rattled my bones on that drop. It's always nice to be able to look at a drop like that and then just hit it without having to think about it too much. And afterwards you were like, wow, that was a pretty big drop. So now we're into some smooth, flowy sections here, which is perfect for a few action shots. The dirt is a little bit more predictable than it was above, but still quite slippery. So as we're trying to push our speed into these corners through the braking bumps, you still have to be aware that the dirt may or may not grip as much as you want it to.
Continue.
Okay, we gotta ride the rest of hole in one. Supposed to be a little bit more technical with some more tight corners, possibly loose.
And we get to keep on going.
We keep referencing getting to continue because the rest of the group actually dropped off and headed to the van. This part of the trail is supposed to be quite a bit more gnarly than it was up above. It is only rated a red, but it's probably a black in most other places in the world.
Oh, such a cool view though. Hopefully you guys can see it now, looking out onto the ocean.
We've got some super gnarly jank coming up here, some tight turns, and as I can see here, there's some amazing views. Let me tell you, we didn't see any of those while we were riding. Also, this is the last trail for the day, and we actually talked about that as a group, which is never a good thing. So all of us were talking about how we were trying to keep it dialed down because you never want to push too hard on the last trail of the day. That's when bad things happen. Oh man, this is so janky here, and you're not even understanding because of the GoPro effect. It's steep, it's rocky, there are tons of things trying to grab your pedals and bottom bracket, and there's also that amazing view. This rocky section coming up is so janky and weird. You can ride it, but being the last trail of the day, we decided it just wasn't worth it.
Alright, back on C-Bike.
That was actually my bottom bracket bash guard. Thank goodness I put one of those on. It could have bent the chainring otherwise. Hit it really hard.
Whew, I made my money up on my bash guard right there.
Okay, good.
I hit it hard.
Finish of this trail is actually like a beautiful ending to the day. It was super flowy, not too hard, and you could get a glimpse of the view off to the left as you were riding without feeling like you were going to fly off the trail. What an amazing ride. All right, wrapping up the last ride of the day. Ride 5 was 1.3 miles, 1,500 feet of descending, difficulty of 8 out of 10 because of the drops and the part we had to walk, and a fun out of 8 out of 10 because you could push this one as hard as you wanted. That's it for today. We are off to a rest day before we will see you guys again for day number 4, where we hit some brand new trails, find some Madeira ice,
Whew. Steep, slippery corner.
and even some really fun, cool, big jumps. Have a fantastic rest of your day.